Hello, hello. Surprise, surprise. I have another tiny home. I guess that is not a shock to anyone because I've kind of been obsessed with tiny, what's it called? Tiny living stuff, malarkey. I can't remember, but that pack since it came out. And so I decided to do another micro home. I've done it for a toddler and I imagined a single mum. It could have been a single dad, but I was imagining a single mum. I did it very like pink. I kind of liked the idea of it being like a mum who's got a little girl and she's like, oh, pink everything, pink, pink, pink. And the house is kind of a bit candy floss themed, I think. Like it's pink and blue. I really like how it turned out. It's really sweet. I'm really enjoying building tiny homes, partly because they're a lot quicker and partly because I just like how they actually feel like there's stuff in them. I gave this one a back garden. However, you can only get into it through the side gate because the only place I could have put a door was in. So basically, the mum sleeps in the living room on a Murphy bed, and the little girl has her own bedroom. And the only place I could have put a back door really was the little girl's bedroom. And I thought, probably you don't want to give your little girl a room, like a little toddler, that has a door to get out. Probably not ideal. So there is no back door, but there is a side gate. And I was going to put a car, but instead I ended up putting a bike. So, I mean, lots of decisions I wasn't expecting to make. Yeah, it's blue on the outside, I think. Like quite a mild blue. And then there's bits of blue and pink throughout. And I really like how it turned out. And I even added a litter tray and a food bowl for a cat. So can fit a cat in. Now, unfortunately, the litter tray couldn't go in the bathroom because there just wasn't enough space. And there is also not a sink in the bathroom. You may be thinking, that looks like quite a big bathroom. You could have put a sink in there. And that's true if I hadn't put a bath in. But because I decided I wanted it to be for a toddler, I needed a bath and I couldn't figure out a layout where the sink would work. Maybe if I sized it down, it might have actually. So, I mean, I don't mind it because I've kind of put the sink, because like that other room there, what I'm doing now, is like a living room, dining room, kitchen, and the sink ends up being on the same wall that the TV's on because I only had 3 tiles in that little corner for counter, fridge and an oven. So that's just, the sink had to go on this wall where the TV is. But I think that makes it, well, it's like, it's closer to the bathroom, so I don't really mind it that much. I was just thinking, if you're living in a micro home, you probably have to make some compromises, and not having a sink in your bathroom is probably not the end of the world. Like, realistically, if you had to budget or you needed to save on space, you probably would sacrifice a sink. I would sacrifice a sink because you don't really need 2 sinks, especially in a home this small. So really, I did a favour, although I am kind of implying that this house is on a budget. It is definitely not on a budget. So if you read this thinking, oh, micro tiny home, I don't know what I'm calling this yet, but micro tiny home, oh, that must mean budget. It does not mean budget. Also, you'll see me play test a little bit throughout this, so apologies for that. But at least you can see that stuff works. So that's why I kind of leave it in, because a lot of tiny building is play testing, and it's also, I think, nice to see that it is in fact functional rather than me just saying it's functional and then you've been like, is it really though? It is. It does work, I think. I think it works. Everything I tested works. Although I didn't test the TV or the Murphy bed, but the sofa worked. I don't see why the Murphy bed wouldn't work. It might be that you have to, it's probably going to be that you have to like close it to let the little girl out of the bed. But I thought, like, out of her room, I thought that's not that unrealistic. Like, it's not the end of the world. So I thought I would just put it like that. But you never know, she might be able to squeeze past the bottom. I can't really remember. I did put in 2 chested drawers, I think. I think I used the tiny living ones because they're really narrow. So I've got one of those in the living room. And then I think I might have one in the child's room. Actually, I think I only put one in the end. I was going to put one in the child's room, but I was looking at it and I was like, this looks like something you would tip onto yourself, and I just didn't like it in there, so there is only one. But I gave her this dressing table. So, not dressing table, what do you call it? It's from, what pack is it? Parenthood. And it's got some like drawers and stuff. And I thought for like aesthetic purposes, it looks like it would store clothes. And for practical purposes, if you actually use dressers, then there is a dresser in the house. So, yeah, I don't use dressers, and I always forget to put in bins and mailboxes. But this time, I remembered. And as I was saying, I'm quite excited because this one has a back garden. Because my last 2 tiny homes, and probably like the last 400,000 homes, I keep doing like front gardens rather than back gardens. I think it's because of the fencing situation. Especially since with a tiny home that's so small anyway, it always just feels more open to me to not have a fence all the way around. But this one I did actually give a fence to, and give it a back garden, and I really like how it turned out. I did give it like a classic white picket fence kind of thing, but and I gave it that little glass, what do you call it? I call it a veranda, but it's not a veranda, it's a awning. There we go, awning, something like that. On the side, and I thought that'd be nice to just put the bench down. And I've never used that bench before, so I was kind of excited about that. I don't think I've ever used that bath either, because I just think most of the combo baths are really ugly, but you gotta do what you gotta do, and I think that one fits like a nice little cute family environment. Actually, one thing I wish I'd done is the column thing, you know, where you put it on the walls. I just didn't even think about that. But, you know, maybe I'll go in and change that before I add it to the gallery. I might even add a chimney. I'm not sure if I will, because I've got that little, the little accessory window. Do you know what I mean? It's like a roof accessory. I was going to have an actual roof piece, but then I downsized that wall. So I had to kind of rethink the layout, which you probably saw at the beginning, me changing the floor plan and everything. It's because it just didn't work the way that I wanted it to. So it just didn't make enough sense. I did also put a mirror above that sink, which you might think, that doesn't make that much sense in a living room / in a kitchen. And I'm like, yeah, but again, limiting on space. And fun fact, in my own house at home, my mum actually does have a mirror above the sink. It used to be this cupboard where she had like display stuff in, including like coffee from America that's like 400 years old and she needs to put in the bin. But it's got Mickey Mouse on it, so she thinks it's an acceptable decoration. It's not, it's very out of date. But yeah, she used to have that above, but now she's got like this black sparkly mirror. If there's one thing you'll know, well, you won't know, but one thing you need to know about my mum is that she's like a magpie. Like, she sees something glittery and she's like, that is going in the house. And I'm like, Mum, please, oh no, put the sparkles down. Because it's very much like what I was like when I was younger, that my mum is like just attracted to anything that seems to be, what does she call it? Quirky. And I was like, I don't think quirky is a good thing. Like, I feel like most of the time when you describe things as quirky, it's usually a backhanded compliment, or like, oh, I don't know how to comment on this, so I'll say quirky because it's neither good nor bad. But my mum uses it as a positive. So I mean, if she ever meets someone and calls them quirky, I think they might be offended, because at least where I live, quirky is just kind of like where I live in my age demographic, quirky's not a compliment, but my mum sees it as a compliment, and she'll be like, oh, your hair looks quirky today, and I'm like, I need to change my hair then, because that's not a good thing. But I don't know, maybe it means a good thing elsewhere. Anyone know? What does it mean where you live? Because where I live, it's just kind of backhanded compliment. I don't know if it's an age thing. I think it's probably mainly an age thing. Oh yeah, here you see me going, oh, I'll do another front garden, and then I'm like, no, I shouldn't. I'll do a back one. Also, it's really annoying how the fence keeps like making a room. I'm like, it's not a room. Leave me alone. It's a yard. Also, yard is so much easier to say than, what do you call it? A garden. I don't know why I forgot the word for a garden. My brain's just like switched off today. I've just got so much to do for uni, and oh, I'll go on a minor rant, right? So I do painting, therefore I need like boards and structures and stuff made. We have a shop at my uni and you can go up and buy stuff, but they only do them up to a certain size. So I went up for some canvases and I was just going to get like 4 and make them into like kind of do the painting in segments. And then I was like, oh, is this the biggest ones you've got on the moment? And then she was like, yeah, it is. And I was like, I've just realised that fence is going to bug me. I'll sort that out before I upload it to gallery. Anyway, yeah, so I went up there and then she was like, oh no, that's all we've got at the moment. I was like, okay, well, I'll just get a couple of these for something to do in the meanwhile, because I went down to the woodwork shop where they make stretchers, which is the wood part of a canvas, if you don't know it. And then we have to put our own canvas, like cotton, over the top. I'm not very good at it. I've only done it a couple of times and it stresses me out, and I really wish I could just pay for them. I mean, I have to pay for like the materials and like the wood, but I just wish I could pay for the whole crafting of it. Anyway, so I went down there and then he was like, oh, she's not in. And I was like, okay, when's she back? And he was like, oh, she's ill. And I was like, okay, should I write like my order on the, because there's a sheet and you write your order. And I was like, should I write my order on the sheet? And he was kind of like, write in pencil. So I don't know what that means. Like, does that mean he's just gonna rub out my thing? I don't know. But then I was also just like, it's a little annoying. Like, not that she's ill, obviously. Like, she's ill, she can't help being ill. But there's like, it's just a bit annoying that like, there isn't more people who make the canvases. Because there's a lot of people in the woodwork shop. And also like, I don't know, it just, painting I think is the biggest section of my degree, as in like there's the most people on painting, so it seems a bit inconvenient there's only one person who ever makes like the stretchers and the boards. Because for instance, like say when she goes on holiday or when she's ill, sometimes they fill in and do some for her, usually they don't though, and so you have to just like wait for her to come back. And there was a time last semester where people had like basically could do more stuff for a couple of weeks, but she finished for a holiday, and so it was like if you hadn't had your stuff ordered then and you didn't I didn't even get the emails. One of my friends told me about it. I don't think they got an email either. I think they'd spoke to her. But yeah, so then you just like can't order anything. It's just like, oh, okay. And then that wouldn't be quite as bad if the shop had some other canvases, like bigger ones, but they don't most of the time. They've got quite a lot of the smaller ones, but I just want some bigger ones. I don't know, that's such a first world problem. I'm sorry for whining about that for so long. But just venting. I've also still got a bit of a sore throat, so I'm probably going to go have a tea after this. And if I seem a bit like mopey today, it's because I feel quite tired. I'm not sure why. I think it's because I've just been sat building this with a heater on me for about, I think this took me about 2-3 hours. So yeah, I've just been sat like in this chair with heat blasting at me. But excitingly, I have a package this way. I can't work out where my hands, I forget you have to move like the opposite way. And it is a set of markers. And I have not used markers, as in like drawing markers, for years. The last time I used them was probably when I was about 10, and I went through a phase where I was really into manga, and I had some pens. I think they were pro markers maybe, so that I could do manga drawings. So I bought myself some markers and they were quite cheap. They're by a brand called Ohuhu. You can get them on Amazon. There's a lot of YouTube videos about them if you wanted to check them out, if that's something you're interested in. They do quite a lot of different sets, like 40, 60, 80, 120 and 200, I think. They've just started doing the 200 over here, so I thought I'd get myself them and hopefully get some practice in, because I'm trying to get into the habit of drawing again, because since I've been doing a painting degree, I have completely ditched drawing, and completely ditched drawing for fun, basically, since sixth form, so since I started sixth form. So trying to finish some sketchbooks and actually do things that are just not to try and pass a degree or something, just like stuff that I want to do, like draw Sabrina. That's on my list because I'm watching that at the moment and I want to draw her with her bunny. But anyway, this video is about to finish and wrap up, so I hope you enjoyed it and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.